Hi everybody, Louise here with my 144 topics, and this week's topic is about the female or the feminine out of balance. Now I'm talking from quite a bit of personal experience here because as a child, things that happened to me in my childhood taught me to be very protective of myself and to find ways to protect myself, and part of that, of me being out of balance, was basically becoming very strong and very independent. So, I've just blogged about this and I've written about this. So, when a woman's out of balance, just to keep this simple, she can either become very needy. So when she becomes very needy, she's like, she wants things. She can be really high maintenance. She doesn't want to be left alone. She doesn't want, partners off doing whatever it is. Like, there can be lots of behaviour that can be quite insecure about that. And she can also be too independent, which was pretty much the role that I took on, where, I don't need any help and I can do this alone, and, I don't need you to do it, and, sort of that sort of martyr, taking on the world sort of mentality. And really that's just mechanisms that we put in place because we are out of balance, and we tend to forget that, sometimes that when we feel empty, again, that's the female out of balance. So we want to be feeling full inside. We want to be feeling that energy flowing within us. Like, that is the optimum thing to be feeling. So other things, that I wrote in my blog is about, sometimes we can look to put our beauty out to the world. So, as I've said many times, and especially for women, because women are very inward, it's very important for us to fill our cup inside, to fill those voids inside. So if we're feeling empty, then it's really important that we look at doing things in our life to make us feel full, so we can do things that we enjoy, that make us feel happy, that make us feel good, that make us feel fulfilled, because when that happens for us, then that projects out to everybody in the family. So, we can, when women, spend lots of money on plastic surgery, even wearing low-cut dresses or shirts where you're exuding energy out can also be quite a masculine thing. We don't need to do that. Part of the feminine essence is that flow, it's that mystery, it's that sensuousness. So, when we become more balanced and connected to ourselves, we don't need to prove anything to anyone else because we're filling up that cup on the inside. So we start to see the beauty. We start to see us accepting, ourselves. And of course, once we accept ourselves, then the beauty flows inward from that. The other thing probably would be the sex and sensuous and sexuality for women. So when a woman feels really balanced, she's pretty turned on, So if a woman's not in the mood, there are other things that obviously need to be addressed, does she have the time? Does she, what is it that's taking you away from wanting to feel that good inside, where you feel radiant and you feel like you're allowing your energy to flow out and to flow and to be, expressing yourself in that feminine presence. So from my personal experience, I will just talk about my personal experience here and my story about this. So, I used a lot of masculine traits to protect myself. I was very independent. That can come across as being very cold-hearted because it's like you're very contained and really not being receptive. So, part of the essence for the woman is this receptiveness and this openness. And I wrote in the blog, that men have external parts of their body that point out and women have parts that point in. So that's really part of what our essence is, to be open to receive that. So, I know that I was aware that when I was quite out of balance in myself and in my femininity, I would tend to attract, either sort of bullying and intimidating type, masculine male partners, or ones that were basically, again, were the same out of balance, which were quite needy and codependent. So the more that I've looked at fulfilling that female essence and that female aspect within me and finding ways to nurture that, and that can be through creative expression, it can be through whatever it is that you want to be doing to allow yourself to feel fulfilled inside, that then starts playing out with the type of people that you want to attract into your life or that you draw into your life. So the belief that I have is that, as a woman, The masculine trait is very much going out there looking, the hunting and gathering sort of a mentality where you're out there looking for it. Whereas once you start to tap into that feminine side of yourself, what really tends to happen is that you tend to basically be content and comfortable in your own space, and you're actually starting to draw things into you. So you're drawing creation, you're drawing your manifestations, you're letting it come to you as opposed to you chasing that, if you can understand that difference. So, being happy and content in the space that you're at is really, really important. And then, the final thing I might just talk about here is about the sexuality side of things. Like we are sensual beings, we are expressive, we move, we flow, we moan, we do all those things. And really that is a gift and an amazing thing to be feeling when you can start allowing yourself to be quite receptive to allowing yourself to surrender into that space, because it sort of takes your lovemaking to a new level. So instead of having this sort of loin or, sort of lusting physical connection, it starts opening up the heart space into a more heart connection with people. And then you tend to find that the connections that you have in your relationships, there's almost like you are, as much as you're intermingling on the physical, there's also that heart and that sort of spiritual connection as well, which comes from being a female who is open and receptive. So hoping that gives you some clarity, because probably open, receptive are the probably easiest words to sum up, the essence of the woman. She's also very connected to her intuition. She's very much guided by her feeling. So, it's just a case of that feel right sort of sensation that you actually would be experiencing in your life. So if you ever want any help in looking at exercising that feminine aspect, these are exercises and practices that I regularly do to look at nurturing and nourishing that part of myself, because as I increase my value, then the value that I can give to all you guys increases too. And I would wish for every woman to have that experience of that surrender and that connection and that heart space feeling of where you're almost overflowing with ecstasy, and it's a natural occurring feeling that we all have. We all have that within us. We all contain that. We all have access to that. We can all tap into that. And then it becomes, not so much like life is chasing your tail and riding a roller coaster as much, but more being an observer of what's actually going, but really allowing yourself to drop into that feeling space of that, and to be guided to, whatever the universe may bring. So yeah, I'm happy to work with you if you want to look at some techniques and exercises that you can do to help with this. I did some with my students the other week, and 2 of them said they went for a job interview and both of them got a job. So, when we learn to turn on that radiance, we turn on that feminine thing, and we're aware of it and we're conscious of it and we're consciously driving that, it's almost like then we're really driving our own life. Or as someone very nicely wrote this morning, we're carving out our own journey, which is just a great way to live and a great way to be. So, until next week with my next topic, if you want any discussions, feel free to contact me. Happy to have a chat with you about, looking at connecting to that feminine aspect and allowing her to come out and play and shine, because everyone around you will benefit from that, definitely. As you see the beauty within, so will the beauty project out. So until next week, seeing you always in happiness and health. You have a fabulous week, and I will catch you then. See ya. Bye.